Okay, hey, I wanted to make this video again to talk about the situation that is going on in a U.S. bond market, and I wanted to say, because after the last video that I made, I got a lot of responses from people that really don't understand much about economics, and one of the things that people don't understand is the fact that what the Fed is doing with the economy is going to it's good for us. It's good for people on Wall Street. It's good for people that have money already and they are investing in a stock market. You can see your stock portfolios go up, and a lot of people are thinking that that's a sign that the economy is recovering because you're seeing higher stock prices. But that's not necessarily true, because generally whenever there is cheap money policies and there is inflation, generally stocks are going to go up. Those prices go up too. Everything goes up. And I think it's unbelievable that the Federal Reserve and the official government numbers, people want to say that there is no inflation. In reality, there's a lot of inflation out there. And one of the huge signs that there is inflation is basically pretty much everything that people buy. The prices of it are going up 7, 8, 9% a year, and the government don't factor in energy prices like gas, things that you buy at the grocery store. That's not factored into the CPI, and basically, this is an illusion. There is no recovery. The economy is not growing. The economy right now is addicted to cheap money, and as soon as you remove cheap money from the economy, I think the economy will collapse, because this is not a real recovery that we're going through. This is an artificial temporary fix, just like as a junkie would get a temporary fix by doing heroin, and I think that going forward, I think very soon we're going to have a crisis, and the crisis is going to be mainly it's gonna mainly happen. It's first gonna happen in the bond market, where the bond market is gonna collapse because the government. Once interest rates start going up, the Fed can't keep buying up bonds forever. There's only so much money you can print before the currency starts to become worthless. And another thing that's going to happen is, once we have a currency crisis here in America, which is going to happen when the bond market collapses, once we have that crisis, America gets most of its stuff from other countries, and when the dollar collapses and the U.S. can no longer import products from China and from other countries that we do business with, and American can't just pay them with worthless Federal Reserve notes or dollar bills, because basically what we're doing right now is China gives us stuff, that goes into Walmart shelves. It goes into pretty much everything that you see at the dollar stores. Pretty much everything that you see at a retailer is pretty much made in another country. Like, there's really nothing being made in the U.S. right now. our manufacturing sector is ridiculous. We have no manufacturing, and this is the time that we need to be making stuff and producing stuff. Um, you know, we have enough service sector jobs. We need more people in the manufacturing sector making things and creating real wealth, but we don't have that. So basically, what we do is we go to other countries and we give them dollar bills, and they give us products in return, things that they've manufactured, and that's basically how how we can continue to live this fake lifestyle that a lot of Americans are living. It's being lived on. It's being lived on things that are being made in other countries, and a lot of Americans have things that they can't afford. There's not enough savings in America. There's not enough production, and eventually, the only reason why the U.S. can do this is because the dollar is the reserve currency. That's the only reason why, this has gone on this long, is because the world has perceived the dollar to be a safe haven, and to be, America to be politically stable, and that's why everybody uses the dollar. But eventually, the world is waking up, and when the world wakes up, America won't be able to import. And what's going to happen is, because the U.S. won't be able to import anything, prices are going to skyrocket, because basically everything that we have here on our shelves and everything that we buy, we're going to have to make it ourselves now, because other countries are not going to accept dollar bills anymore. And they're not going to accept dollar bills in exchange. Basically, they're not even accepting dollar bills. Basically, they're accepting a promise to be paid back. Like China just accepts like an IOU, you know. It's actually insane the way the Chinese are basically cheating their own citizens of of economic growth by not allowing their currency to rise, because the Chinese right now, they're not enjoying the fruits of their labor because they're propping up the U.S. dollar and the U.S. economy. But the Chinese, I think, in the future, or very soon, are going to realize that they don't need the U.S., and other countries are going to realize that too, that they don't need the U.S. market to survive, and that they can just consume the stuff that they're producing in their own domestic economy. And that's when I think that the bottom is going to fall out of the dollar, is when other countries figure it out and they stop accepting these worthless paper from the U.S. And I think this is going to happen. I definitely think this is going to happen within 2 years now. I think that interest rates are starting to rise, and I think that I think this has gone on way too long, where we've been living in this artificial economy produced by the Federal Reserve, and the U.S. economy has to meet reality at some point. It can't keep doing this forever, and this is just. I think a lot of people are going to suffer, but I think if we make the right decisions now, if the Fed doesn't do the right thing now, I think it's only going to be worse later on. But I think the Fed isn't. I don't think they have a choice. They were given a chance to make the right decision in 2008, but I don't think that they're going to have a choice. I think it's either we're going to have hyperinflation, or the government is going to be forced to cut back on all of its obligations, and they're going to be forced to cut the budget, and to to stop printing money. But either way, there's going to be forced economic reform in America, because and other countries are going to benefit. Like once the dollar collapses, and once the U.S. economy basically collapses, other countries are going to Other countries are going to rise. Their economies are going to their currencies are going to rise, and their purchasing power are going to rise. And the U.S. And the people here in the U.S. are going to lose a tremendous amount of purchasing power because the dollar is going to go down by so much. And I think oil could go when this happens. Oil could go all the way up to $200 a barrel in the U.S. But for other consumers, I think oil is going to be relatively cheap. Like for consumers in China or in Australia or Russia, I think if they're gonna because once their currency is no longer pegged to the dollar, their currency can truly rise and they can enjoy, the fruits of their labor. So so that's what I wanted to talk about today, and that's what I'm looking for in the markets. And as somebody that always thinks about the big picture, um, that's what I'm trading on right now is on this type of information, and my belief that the bond market is going to collapse, and that the U.S. dollar is going to collapse, and that eventually we're going to have a currency crisis in America. Okay.